Neck-throughs, guitars, they're like a guy that you won't have a beer with you.
I want to hear what's pushing the notes.
Freddie King and B.B. King, Albert King, and let's not forget Burger King.
I don't want to blow my knuckle out.
Stainless steel is the work of the devil.
These go to 11.
From the East Amplification Tone Labs in Baltimore, Maryland, it's the Amps and Axes Show with your hosts, Jeff the Godfather of Low Wattage Amps Bober and Mick Marcelino.
Well, good day to you, Mr. Bober.
Good day to you, Mr. Marcelino. How bees it?
I'm back. I had a zinger of a head cold, man.
I hate that. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I was kind of glad we had a couple in the can because we need that. You know, there's times when I'm like, "Hey man, I can't get over it."
Airborne,
Yes.
airborne,
Well,
airborne.
I take that stuff. This one just kind of came out of left field. I won't get into my cold. This is a show about amps and axes. But let's just say I went to the drag races and I ingested some nitromethane through the air.
Okay.
And I don't know if your body really digs that too much.
Did it make you run fast though?
No.
Okay.
But
Well, what the hell good is it?
I smelled it for 2 days. It was in my nostrils. Everything.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great time. Anyway, we got to thank our listeners. Of course.
Thank you, listeners.
We are doing awesome. The Twitter is still blowing up. We're almost at 1,000 followers, dude.
That's great.
And these are all real followers. We appreciate everybody. And look, if you follow us, I'm going to follow you back, man.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't go out and hunt down. You could have 10,000 followers tomorrow.
No.
We don't do that. This is all organic.
I have seen so many of those where, guys have contacted me literally through the hey, for $50, I'll give you 5,000. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, you'll have 5,000 today. They'll be gone in a week.
Well, they're not even real.
Yeah, I know they're not real.
They're generated. The guy, if he decides, well, I'm going to delete all the accounts.
Right.
They're gone. So anyway, thank you for the follows and
thank you all our real listeners for the real follows
and the retweets and stuff. When I put stuff out, I see that we get a couple retweets, and that's good. I mean, it's not. I don't expect flocks of it yet. when we get to 10,000 listeners or followers,
I expect flocks of it. I do. So flocking retweet, will you?
And if you go to our webpage, you're going to see something new. Little banner. Little banner.
Nice.
Hey, look, the holidays are coming. And,
yes, they are.
Guitar players, I know. Guitar. We're cheap. And, it's a great place. Look, you're not going to get a Les Paul on Amazon.
Right.
You're not going to get a half stack on Amazon that you're going to go out and gig with. But picks, strings, straps, those kinds of things,
accessories,
readily available, good quality, and you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
just go out there and order your stuff. And here's the other side of it: you can also order a book, you can order a movie, you can order clothes.
A book with pages.
I think if you try hard enough, you can get a fetus. So
I think that might be a little illegal. Let's try not to lead people down that road. Yes, that's true. Okay?
I'm sorry. I just make it a joke. I mean, they sell everything.
they do.
Pretty soon it's going to be like, I need a kidney. Let's go to Amazon. I think they had 3 left. So if you click through, look.
You might not, you can search for best price there too on Amazon.
Yes.
But you might not want to buy the kidney with the best price.
Exactly.
Could be damaged.
Really used kidney with a bullet hole.
It's called Keith.
I like that. It was good. So when you go there, if you bookmark it, right, on your browser, you don't have to go back through our website. You have the bookmark, and you just click on it. And if you buy anything, you don't get charged extra. We just get a little bit of a kickback. It helps keep these lights on.
We get a half a cent per $1,000 spent.
It keeps the hard drive spinning. It's true.
Yeah.
It keeps the hard drive spinning, and we can continue to do this on the cheap. We keep it free, And that's
Right.
what I never want to charge guys for this. But we having a great time, and it does cost us a couple bucks.
It does. You know, but it's fun.
And of course, the PayPal button's still there, and we've gotten a couple of responses off of that, and that was very nice. And you know, it's just
Thank you all.
It's just there if you think of it, bookmark it, go through it. You'll have a good time. We'll have a good time. Everything's cool.
Very good. Very good. And I didn't know about the bookmark thing where you don't have to go back. So that's I like that.
You just click on it once and then
Right.
bookmark that, and then you're there.
Right.
So now you don't even have to go back to our webpage, although we'd like you to visit that webpage.
as much as possible.
Yes. And one last thing,
Okay.
make sure you tell a friend. Every musician knows another musician. We all know musicians.
It's true.
If you dig this and you think it's something that somebody would like, turn them on to it, man.
For sure.
And
And
then you're in the podcasting world. You can really listen to a lot of stuff during the day.
yeah,
You don't have this show happens once a week. There's many shows that happen.
absolutely. And you don't have to listen to BS talk radio or, songs that play once an hour.
Unless, of course, you listen to my wife. Keep listening.
That's right. That's right.
I still need to eat.
Those are the locals. Everybody else,
Yes.
go to Podcast World.
Yes.
It's really fun.
Unless you have the app, and then you can listen anywhere on the planet. But no,
That's true.
So we do appreciate everything.
Yes.
And the reviews. If you can give us 5 stars, go out to iTunes.
Please do.
And,
I think we're worth it. I think we're worth it.
We try.
We do. We try.
And-
we give it a 5-star try every week.
And today, at the beginning here, do you want to talk about your thing, or do you want me to go with mine? I don't care. We'll go either way.
Well, you got to bring up your thing.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I come into this cool room every week.
Right.
And there's a stack.
Podcast Central.
There is a stack of East amplifiers. They're just, it's a little head, some cabinets, some smaller cabinets, some big cabinets. Combos, everything's here. And today I come in and there's an Arena 50 chassis sitting right here to my right.
Yes, there is.
I'll take some pictures of that if you're okay with that. Is that
You
okay?
can. You can if you want to. Sure.
And huge transformers. I know you said you like to put a lot of iron into your
Yes.
into your boxes here. But my question to you is there's a smaller. I see the 2 power tubes.
Mm-hmm.
I see the 3 preamp tubes.
Right.
This little tiny tube over here is the rectifier tube.
That's the rectifier. Yeah, that one uses a 5AR4 rectifier.
Because when I had my Mesa Boogie, that rectifier tube looked like an old time light bulb from like the 50s.
Yeah, those are 5U4s. Those are the Coke bottle shaped 5U4s.
Huge.
Yeah, and a double rec when they were using those had 2 of them. The triple rec had 3. I use larger 5U4s in the 18 and the 30 and the Studio 2 as well. This one actually it's capable of supplying more current.
The smaller tube.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
it actually, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
There's a little more voltage. Both of them will supply enough current for that 50 watt amp. There's a little more voltage that comes out of that tube. So you get a little bit more plate voltage on the 6L6s.
Okay.
And you can drop the power down on that thing by putting a 5U4 in it.
Oh, that's pretty wild.
Yeah. You can do a little bit, not much,
Okay. So you got the 1 tube is obviously the input tube. Is that correct?
Preamp tube? Yes.
Preamp tube.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I need to be more specific.
That's okay. The little ones.
Yeah, the little, what are they, 12AX7s, right? Okay. So that one gets your little minuscule millivolt volume coming out of your guitar because it's a coil up to 0 or whatever that magical number is. What does it do? Is it get it to, it gets it up, right? It amplifies it upward.
Yeah, quite a bit.
I imagine, right?
A signal coming out of a guitar, depending on the pickup and everything, and how hard you hit it, and how close your strings are, because that all makes a difference. You can get a volt out of a guitar, which is 1,000 millivolts. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but you can get about a volt out of it. Maybe a little bit more on a really hot pickup.
When you get shocked by the door, it's like 50,000 DC or something like that, or 30,000.
Oh, it's static electricity.
Yeah.
It's in the tens of thousands, but there's no current.
There's nothing behind it.
Yeah, there's no current, and there's no current coming out of a guitar either.
No,
you can't get hurt from that. But yeah, it takes it and steps it up. Well, it all depends on how you have the gain set up in there. I mean, 12AX7 theoretically in optimal conditions can have a gain of 100. So you could step 1 volt up to 100 volts. But and then it goes from there, through more components, and it gets attenuated somewhat, and then it goes into the next stages, and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
But it has a gain of 100. So
when they talk about adding extra gain stages, like, I have no idea how this works. So maybe this will shed some light to some of the people that listen. Okay. So you got the input tube, and I understand that tube is the tube that gets everything up to where when it comes, I guess when it goes, now you're in the amplifier and the signal is strong and it's good. And now you go down the chain, right? You got more stages.
Right.
Okay. So like when you look at like a 800, let's just take a 50 watt JCM 800. There's 3 preamp tubes in the back of that. Correct? Yeah, and 2 power tubes, no rectifier tube for the most part. Okay. So one of those is the input tube, and then the other 2 are the gain stages? Is that correct?
No, the first tube is actually your major gain stage. Two stages, actually, because the first tube is...
see, this is where I don't... Yeah, this is cool.
They're dual triodes, so there's two amplifiers in each preamp tube. So it goes from the first one, and then through some components, depending on how you have it attenuated and voiced and everything, it'll generally go back into the second half of the first preamp tube, because there's 2 gain stages in that tube. And generally between them, in most instances, there's a volume control of some sort, because you need that's your first method of controlling the amount of gain in the front end of the amplifier.
That would be your preamp volume.
Right, exactly. And then it goes from there into the next tube, which is generally most of the time it's going to be a tone stack, or it's going to be another gain stage and then into a tone stack. It's either going to be tone stack, gain stage, or gain stage, tone stack if you're in a 3 preamp tube amplifier.
Now, when you see these ones that are 5 preamp tubes, like a Mesa Boogie, I remember it was 5 12AX7s, 4 6L6s, and the 5U was the 5U4?
No, the 100 watt Mesas probably wouldn't have. Unless it's a recto.
It was a dual recto. I had 2 of those. I had so many tubes in that thing. I was like, if anything ever happens to this thing, it's going to cost me a fortune.
True, unless you can figure out, if it's only one preamp tube.
No, I mean, like if physically smashed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, well, that's about $400 to get it in tubes. Yeah. So why would somebody run them out to 5 preamp tubes?
It all depends what they're used for. If it had reverb, there's a very good chance in a lot of amps, like in Fender amps and things,
they run a tube.
Two of those preamp tubes are part of the reverb circuit.
Oh.
The first one, they use both halves to drive the tank. The second one, half of it is used for the reverb recovery from the output of the reverb tank.
Sure.
It's used for recovery. And then the other half of that is more or less a mixer type of tube that mixes the dry signal back in with the reverb signal. So that's 2 tubes right there.
Well, the dual rectifier did not have reverb.
No, and it had 4 or 5 tubes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's where you start cascading more gain stages.
I was going to say, it was a retarded amount of gain in that amp.
Yes. And I mean, that's not all. You can't just cascade one tube right into another to that degree of tubes. There's a lot of attenuation, a lot of tonal manipulation.
Okay. Now, when you say attenuation, you're saying you have to knock the signal down a little bit?
Right.
So you can't just blast in from one to the other.
You can,
but it'll be horrible.
But not in that amount of stages. And it's really, you can do it. It's not a very appealing sound after a certain point. Okay. It just turns to complete garbage. It's I mean, think of like the sound of Neil Young.
Oh. Yeah.
Overdone by a factor of 100.
Oh, there you go.
I like Neil, but that much probably not pleasing to most human ears.
Farts out. Yeah, it's nothing there.
So you really have to deal with the signal in many different ways before you go back to the next stage and saturate it to some degree.
Sure.
And on down the line.
Okay, so once it leaves that preamp area, then it's off to the power tubes. Is that correct?
Well, the last preamp tube is the phase inverter, because you need to split the signal into opposite halves in order to feed the push-pull output stage, if it's a push-pull amp. If it's a single-ended amp, then it's a little bit different, but most amps out there are push-pull, the 2 tubes, 4 tubes,
sure, yeah.
6 tubes, something like that. Yeah. It's 12. I have not seen 12 output tubes, have I?
Yeah, the 300. The Mesa Boogie made a 300-watt bass amp, and Wizard has a 300-watt guitar head that the Malcolm Young. That's 12 tubes.
Way back. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Imagine that party.
That is a party. They're making tubes now that can put out more power. I really don't know enough about them. I haven't used them. I know they're relatively expensive, but you can. There's some tubes out, KT100s, I think, or something like that now, where you can get. I think you can get 100 watts out of a pair of them.
Holy moly!
Yeah. I haven't used them yet. I don't know what they sound like.
I was
don't
going to
know
say, what
anything
does
about
that
reliability. Sound like? I don't know what kind of transformers you need for them, but they're like 100 watts a pair now.
Well, my amp head weighs 250 pounds. But it's 500 watts. I got 6
Well,
tubes.
wait a minute. They have to be more than that, because 6550s, even in an SVT, 6550s are putting out 100 watts a pair. So,
there you go.
So the KT100s have to be more. No, I don't think anybody's hit 200 yet. They have to be more, though. I don't remember what
That's wild.
I glanced over them once, and I went, yeah, I'll come back to this.
Well, that is...
Because, I don't even know what 100 watt East amp would sound like. I'd be afraid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you used to have you had like an 80 or a 90?
Oh, the Buddha. The Super Drive 80.
I played through one of those in the store, and the guy was like, "Do not turn this up." And I was like, "Why?" And he gave me a taste, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I said, "Never mind. I won't. I got to walk out now, because it was not even. I couldn't buy. There was no stage in Maryland I could play that thing on.
Right.
So it sounded great though. But
I do have a customer taunting me for a 100-watt ETH, so it may
happen.
It may happen.
It depends how deep those pockets are.
Where I'll make it for you. Where you're going to play it is on you.
Well, that's very interesting. I mean, I did not know that. I thought it was, the tube, one tube, that was it. There wasn't like 2 stages inside of it, and just right on down the line. And then, I mean, obviously simplified, it pretty much is. But if you got to talk about all the other stuff that's in there, as it's changing tone stacks and stuff. Now, tone stacks are obviously your bass, your mid, and your treble, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And then you can make an amp that's real heavy bass or less, and through the different components and all. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, it's a 12AX7 is known as a dual triode, which means there's 2 triodes. Each triode is its own little amplifier. It's like having a transistor is kind of like a triode. It has 3 elements to it. Same with the 12AX7, it has a pair of them in there.
That's cool. Now, I will take some pictures of this, and I'll put up on the website.
What are you going to take a picture of?
Well, because it's in its open state, so I can get, I can show people, like that. I mean, it's cool. Mm-hmm. It is a plexi.
Well, yeah, the faceplates are plexiglass.
Yeah.
Well, they're actually a very thin sheet of plexi, rear screened, rear painted, and mounted on a sheet of aluminum. So
it's very cool.
They're a little pricey to make that way,
but it's very cool. It's got this very cool look to it.
Oh yeah,
it's blue, and
take a couple pictures.
Definitely your best effort yet.
Oh, thank you.
This is definitely
until I do the 100.
Yeah. Well, I don't mean in the 50. I mean as the amps.
As an amp.
Yeah. And I'm not worthy of playing on them because I need more gain. I just suck as a guitar player. But as far as sheer volume, and the reason I say that is because these will tell on you a little bit.
Yeah.
They don't hold back.
I had to learn to get a little better to play my own amps.
Yeah. They everything kind of rings. You hear every string. Mm-hmm. And the other thing is too I heard an interview with Joe Perry. On our buddy Eddie Trunk.
Okay.
And he was talking about how he looks at amplifiers that when you change the guitar and you don't have to touch the amp, but you hear the change, that is the sign of a good amp. Because, and I know this for a fact, and you can pay a lot of money for some amps, but no matter what you plug into it, it all kind of sounds the same.
Right.
And
it sounds like the amp. And
yeah, it's not the guitar reverberating through it. Jesus, it's been a long week and it's only Wednesday, kids.
Right.
But you don't hear the guitar itself. And
the characteristics.
Yeah,
of the
and
guitar,
I remember when you brought over the 2-watt at when we were having some rehearsals together.
Yes.
And I was just blown away how the Les Paul, you just dialed in these tones of like Allman Brothers, and then you put your Strat on, and it was like Richie Blackmore.
Blackmore stuff, yeah.
But what was weird is I never saw you reach down and touch anything, and I'm like, how the hell is he doing that? Well, that was obviously, the proof's in the pudding. When these higher end amps, such as yourself, or such as yours, I should say, they definitely do that thing.
Right. And it's not to say that the amplifier doesn't have its own inherent sound and characteristics.
Yeah.
But I don't want to use the word embellishes. Maybe it does. Maybe it embellishes the instrument. I don't know. Or maybe the instrument embellishes what the amp already has.
Uh-huh.
I guess you could look at it either way. But yeah, they work well together. They work well together.
And I tell everybody, if you ever get a chance to definitely play through one of these, because you will hear what your guitar really sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you really do. And just a great effort.
Well, thank you.
I mean,
thank you. It's fun. I like it.
Yeah, and you will never be short for volume.
True.
Whatever model you buy, you're good to go.
Right. Right.
An 18-watt can take you a long way.
And even guys that own the studio too. It's great for in-house recording and things like that.
That was a very loud amplifier, but it wasn't. And here's the thing, loud is loud, right? There's a lot of manufacturers that make loud, but loud doesn't mean good. It's like if you're skinny and blonde doesn't mean you're hot.
True.
Right?
True.
So if you just put 100 watts into an amp and it's retardedly loud, it doesn't mean that it's going to sound good. No, these actually have good sound.
I just went into a whole East commercial.
I'm sorry. And they have the good volume, but the 2 was that thing, man, I was blown away. Here we were in a room.
Well, you wouldn't let me play any louder.
Well, I couldn't. But we were in a room that was probably, let me think about it. It was probably about 25 feet by about 15 feet wide.
I was going to say 12 or 15, yeah.
Yeah. And the thud that little 112 was, or 110.
It's probably 110.
Sorry, it was 110.
Probably 110.
Was doing was mind-boggling. I mean, it really was. And that was like, oh my Lord. I knew at that point, I was like, well, these are better than the Buddhas.
Yeah, somebody just got one. A friend of ours, Craig Poole, has one in his new store now. And
cool.
He got it in there and he called me up. He said, man, I thought the Buddha stuff was good. He said, you knocked it out of the park with this.
Yes, you did.
And
I don't, like I said, we don't want to make this an East commercial, but it's okay to talk about it because we're now 40 some episodes in and we haven't talked about them like that.
True.
And you took me through the thing because I don't know. Well, you don't have to thank me, but you took me through how that all worked, and I think a lot of our listeners now will get more of an understanding of how their amps work, and kind of know what to expect.
Right, and I have had people comment. It's like you should talk more about the technical end. You should teach more, and I really don't feel like this is a teaching format for me. It's more about our guests. But we get into it a little bit, and I tried to explain it a little bit. And if everybody can understand it a little bit more, all the better.
Absolutely,
so I'm good with that.
Yeah. So you had something. I'm sorry, I took.
No, it's fine. It's you had something about amps. I had something about axes.
You go right ahead. It's kind of weird because that's
I know it's backwards, right?
backwards,
See,
isn't it?
life is strange sometimes.
Life is always strange.
But we were at the Shindig festival a few weeks ago. I'm losing track of time, but anyway,
2.5.
I was wandering past the booths and checking everything out, and we ran into this booth for an organization called Music for More, the number 4, Music for More. And I just stopped in for a minute, and I asked them, what do you guys do? Anything that has to do with music and a charity and things like that are fine. He said, we take donations of musical equipment, and because so much of the musical programs have been taken out of all the schools, we take equipment in, we try to get it refurbished, and cleaned up and very usable, and then we donate it to schools or organizations that would like to present somewhat of a music program, as much as they can.
That's very cool.
In any school or any kind of organization based like that. And that's really cool. And there are a few places around that do that. I thought, and I really can't get behind that enough. It's something that we really, really need. But the coolest aspect of this, and I talked to the guy about it, and I told him, I said, well, we'll talk about this on our podcast. And he was really happy about that. And I said, okay, so give me some literature so I can talk about it.
Okay.
He gave me the card. He said, everything you need to know is on the website. Just go to the website.
All right.
So I went to the website and checking it out.
And the website is?
The website is, where is it? Music4more.org.
And that's the number 4?
The number 4.
Okay.
Music4more.org.
Okay. We'll put that up on the...
Okay. Yeah, please. These guys were cool. But he told me everything I needed to know was there. So I go on the website, and I'm looking for the most unique and unusual aspect of this organization that I thought set them apart from everything else, all the other organizations that I know that do this.
Sure.
He said when they get an instrument in, whether it's a horn, a guitar, anything like that, that's kind of beyond repair. It's just not worth it to have somebody try to basically rebuild this entire thing in order to make it playable, to give it to someone. They take it, and they work with a bunch of artists too, and they take it and they have a piece of art made out of it. And then they auction it off and
put the money back
into the organization.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And I thought that was awesome. They had a guitar there that was all painted up, could be a wall hanging. It's not a functional guitar, but could be a wall hanging. And God knows what somebody with a welding torch could make with a flugelhorn or whatever,
Sure.
So I thought this was really cool.
Yeah, because it's you're just recycling it. You're not throwing it away.
Right. And you're making a piece of a unique, original piece of art out of it, and the money goes to an organization that needs the money.
That's a sweet deal.
I thought it was great. There ain't a thing about it on the website. There is nothing, and I emailed this gentleman, and his name is Dylan. And Dylan, if you happen to check out the show, because I gave him a card and I told him I was going to do it, check your email, because somebody's got to revamp your website. Because I thought that was the coolest and most unique aspect of this particular organization, and there's no mention of it that I can find on the website.
Yeah, you would probably think some people are probably like, well, look, I don't have anything to donate, but I'd like to buy an instrument. I'd like to buy the wall hanging.
Right. I'd like to buy this piece of art.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, take pictures, put them up on the site. I'm sure they take them to auctions and things like that, and events. But I
want a French horn toilet seat.
See, there you go. And if they don't have one, I'm sure somebody can make one for you.
No, the tuba toilet seat. There you go. Because, you could actually sit on that one.
That's true. It's big enough.
Yeah,
it's big
exactly.
So, very unique organization. And check them out. It's music, the number 4 more.org.
Yeah.
Very cool. Especially, if you happen to be in the Maryland area.
Yeah.
Check them out, because I'm sure it benefits our schools, and but I'm sure there's other organizations in other areas that do this.
Absolutely.
I just thought it was really cool, but this had a really unique aspect to it. And just know that if you go check them out, because they do that. Contact them if you have something to give them that they can turn into one of their artists can turn into a piece of art. It's not on the website yet. It should be. But I thought that was unique. So if you can take advantage of it, please do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That is cool. And you know what else is cool?
Recycling. What?
When we went to the Shindig, we got to talk to two sets of guys. Well, one set of guys. The other guy was a solo guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Both fun though. A lot of fun.
And we wish we could have heard a little bit better.
Yes.
It was very deafening that day. They matter of fact, when we were talking to one Mr. Rocky George, I guess I can say his name.
Sure.
When we were talking to him, was it Shinedown? No, not Shinedown. It was oh boy.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
who was on at that
it was the girl from Pennsylvania.
Oh, Hailstorm.
Hailstorm.
Hailstorm was on.
Why do I get these names so mixed up?
Shinestorm. Hail down.
Hail down. When we were talking to him, I was like, man, those guitars are extra loud. It almost sounds like they got the cabinets pointed back this way. Yeah, they did.
And they did. Right.
So
they did.
you will hear that in the upcoming interviews. And I guess if you want to talk about it and push us through, we can go ahead and we'll have those play on the pre-recorded
format that we were in a tent with our whole recording setup and everything, and
it's funny how things. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's funny how things are supposed to go,
yes,
and then how they really go.
Exactly.
We were not supposed to be in a tent.
No, we were not.
We were supposed to be in a nice, quiet, air-conditioned trailer.
Well, trust me, they're not. They're quieter in there, but they're not quiet either.
Well, yeah, but it would have been night and day compared to the tent that we were in.
Substantially back from the stage, though, I must say.
Yeah, we were far away, but
it's a big festival with big front of house systems.
Exactly. Yes.
So for all that it's worth, here's our Shindig interviews for you.
This is Dan O'Neill, owner of the Custom Rack Shop, guitar tech for Rob Thomas and Kyle Cook from Matchbox 20, and you are listening to Amps and Axes.
All right, so we are backstage at the Shindig Festival.
Yes, we are.
With Nick and Victor from Charm City Devils. How you doing, guys?
Good. It's great to be here, man. It's a beautiful day for a rock and roll concert, and I'm glad you guys are here.
It is awesome. It's 80 degrees, really sunny, a little bit humid, and we're inside a tent that's a little bit more humid.
But we have beers.
But we have beers. That's good. It's all good. Killer set. Just saw your set.
Thanks, man. We have a new record coming out September 23rd. Oh, we're already past. It's out. Sorry.
It's out.
So, yeah, it came out September 23rd. The single is out there. We had about 15 stations on board, and we have Sirius Radio on it. We have Music Choice, which is the cable channel,
98 Rock, of course,
and it's growing. 98 Rock, and it's doing well. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, so I saw the video. It's awesome, man.
Thank you. Done by some local guys, Jimmy and Zach. These days there's no real budget. It's not like the old days where you had $100,000 to do a video.
Right.
You got zero. Here's your budget. Zero. So go do the best you can.
The MTV days are gone.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And you hope maybe 6 people see the video, but
or 6 million when it goes viral for whatever reason, and God knows why that happens to anything.
Exactly.
I've not been able to figure that science out at all.
Speaking of viral, what I hoped would go viral is me falling down. We were on we were on tour with Slash. We just got off tour with Slash and some other great bands, but I fell at a Slash show and I broke my finger. Probably the first time I've ever had an injury like that on stage. Probably a little bit too much booze, but
you got to get primed to rock, man.
But nobody posted it. Nobody got it on video. I wanted to see it.
He saved the guitar, though.
I saved the guitar. I did a front roll. I jumped off one of the front ego risers, and I slipped, fell face forward, did a tumble, jumped up. Of course, my finger was broken at that point, but I did save the baby, the guitar.
The headstock was intact.
The Les Paul, man, my girl.
Man, the worst thing to take a dive with. The worst guitar to take a dive. And you both play Les Pauls.
Yeah.
So, And you were just saying the deck was slippery today, too.
Today, yes.
Sheet of ice out there, dude.
And somebody threw sand up there just to make it even more interesting. Thank you.
Well, at least it wasn't baby powder, right?
Well, I could use some right now. It's pretty hot out.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of guitars, you guys have been at this a long time.
We have, yeah. in many various bands. Victor has been in several bands, and of course I have. I took a break for a while, but I'm back with a vengeance.
You know, you can't stay away forever.
back
man.
in,
You
man.
cannot stay away forever.
It's like the mafia, dude. Once you're in,
Once you're
you're
in,
not
you're
getting
in.
out.
Yeah, I mean, this is remnants of SR-71.
Yep.
And what else is in there?
We got Child's Play.
Child's Play, right.
City Fix guys. We got.
And then we were Starseed and UXB.
UXB,
different
yeah.
formations of bands. Yeah.
Wow. Starseed, I haven't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, man.
It's been a minute.
Yes.
And have you always gravitated towards the Les Pauls your whole time, or was that your rock and roll guitar of choice, or did you finally figure out that that's what I want to play?
It was always Les Paul for me, man.
Really?
Yeah. I had a Boston album, and Tom Schultz had the gold top in the back.
There you go.
I want one of those, And then I got the Black Beauty was my first guitar, 1983,
Really?
yeah. Which I sold, but I just picked up a '79 Black Beauty about a year ago, which
nice.
is my baby,
That's what you played today?
Yeah. Yep, love that guitar.
Now, is it the little micro frets on there that?
It's just the whole feel of it. It's the old guitars are the best. Man.
Oh,
and it weighs about 400 pounds.
Yeah,
Really?
my back hurts.
Is it a heavy one? Is it a heavy one?
It is.
Yeah, mine's a standard, and it has the relief holes in it.
Yeah, they do the chamber.
And I swear somebody filled them with lead.
Imagine what it started out like.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
It's the heaviest thing I've ever owned, but it rings like a bell. So what do you do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Nick, yours?
I'll tell you the truth. I started out with a combination of Stratocasters and Charvels. When I was growing up, I was teenager. I idolized people like Randy Rhoads,
Van Halen.
Van Halen. So I had a Charvel built especially for me back in the day, and I still have the guitars. But
Wow.
it had the humbucker pickup, Floyd Rose whammy with the two single coils, and you could do any combination of them, and it sounded fantastic. That was when I wanted to be a shredder, and I did a little bit of shredding. But what ends up happening is you have to have a workhorse, and when you broke a string with that guitar,
You were done.
you're done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you couldn't finish the song. Like today, I broke a string on a song, and I was able to finish the song out and then grab another guitar, which you can do on Les Pauls, you can do on the Epiphones, the big hollow bodies. But when you're talking about the whammy bar guitars, you can't finish the song. So
Right.
it's all about the workhorse, and the Marshall and the Les Paul are the quintessential
Rock and roll machines.
Rock and roll
yeah.
machines, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the machines, the on the road machines. Now in the studio, we use all kinds of stuff, and anything you could possibly name.
There's some PRS stuff.
Yeah.
What is this? This kid had all kinds of he had all kinds of different model guitars.
Yeah. I love tellies in the studio. They have such a beautiful twangy sound, and
I mean, I've always said that's my Desert Island guitar. I mean, I'm really gravitating to playing Les Pauls now a lot, except for the chill thing. I really got to go with a Strat a lot of times, but really loving the Les Pauls now. But Desert Island, Telly. It's a Telly. Yeah, I mean, you can the range of tones on that chunk of wood is just amazing.
It is phenomenal. And we use I have something called the Third Power. It's a boutique amp from Nashville. And
Those guys. Yeah, we've heard of them.
And I used it on the last two records for most of the rhythm stuff, and it just sounds phenomenal through a Marshall cabinet. It's incredible. So,
have you done anything with like modeling or fractals or any of those, any plugins in the studio or anything? Or?
well, the plugins we usually do when we're just doing demoing.
Okay.
God bless you.
Yeah, and they're fine. They're really for our type of music, we like to get the organic sound. I don't know if you can call it organic because you're using all this electronic gear, but we like that old school sound, and that's what we end up using either the Marshalls. Live I use the 800s.
Okay.
I have a 1980 800 that I use.
That
and
is
I have
awesome.
1979 JMP 100 watt that I use live. You know, I don't save those for the studio. I mean, I use them live, and they just growl. I mean, they're work machines, and knock on wood, I have no problem with them. So
Now does the 800 have 34s in it, or is it the
6550s?
60? Yeah.
Yep, that's what they are.
It's got the bigger bottles, so it's chunkier. And,
It's got the huge low end.
Yeah.
Huge chunk.
That's
and,
what Kerry King and Zach Wild's amp. Their signature models have those.
Good for them. Yeah, I think Victor, you have the Slash signature.
Yeah, I have that. We used that for the last album on a lot of the tracking. And then right now I'm using a DSL 2000, which I put the Mercury magnetics in there.
Oh, nice.
To kind of beef it up, man. It's got a big output tower in that thing. So
We were happily
supported.
we were happy. We had some rented gear somewhere. I think on the ship. We played Monsters of Rock, and they had those heads, and we were just floored by how awesome they sounded.
What, the 2000s?
Yeah, sounds good. And then Pete from Candlebox also was playing through those when we toured with Candlebox, and Pete was showing us this rig, and he's like, man, this is just a DSL 2000 stock. And we're like, man, that sounds great, man. He was getting these great Jimmy Page tones. It was amazing, man.
He sold us.
He did, yeah.
Well, I saw a video with the guys from Airborne the other day, and they use they not only have like 59s and the 800s, but they use the 2000s too. They said they kind of skipped over the 900 and went to the 2000s, which you know.
I'm not a huge fan of the 900, but you know, they're good for what they're for.
Sure.
Yeah, they're doing that like vintage modern thing now too. The one that's supposed to be old school.
That. Yeah,
and
I haven't
newer.
tried that out. I'm afraid to check it out because then I'll have to buy another one.
Well, I don't know about that because I had one cross my bench and I really couldn't find anything quote unquote wrong with it. Yet it really didn't have a whole lot of output power. I don't think it would have the chunk in the balls that you really expect from it.
Right?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't do it. I mean, maybe in a studio you could get it to play nice, but
Jeff, I think
didn't
in the
rock
past,
for me.
you have worked on the heads that I'm talking about.
Oh, more than likely.
You have worked on those back in the day.
More than likely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you did a mod for me back in the day, man. It was awesome, man. That thing crushed.
Yeah, I've been at it for a year or two. You know. Now, what was I getting? Oh, I didn't notice any in-ears on stage. Are you guys totally against them, or this was a one-off? And
I'm not against it. I just haven't gravitated to it. Our singer John is using them, and our drummer uses them. But I like to hear. I wear earplugs in between. You know, I'll wear them and I'll adjust them. Just the regular foam earplugs. I'll adjust them depending on how much I want to hear, how much high end I want to hear. So I'm old school and I have the wedges and the Marshall stack. So you know that's.
So you got to fold it back through the wedge too.
A little bit,
A little bit.
Just enough so when I get out, you know, because you know, like today it's 25 feet apart from the actual
cabs,
cabinet to the front of the stage. So I put in just a little bit in the front. It doesn't sound the same as the Marshall, of course, in the front, but we also use the Palmer DIs for the house.
Oh, nice.
The Palmer DIs are phenomenal. They will chunk like crazy out there. I mean, they get the actual cabinet sound. I don't know how they do it, but it sounds phenomenal.
Oh, see, I know Bonamassa was using those too.
Yeah, Palmer's.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when I got a good look at the whole rig. You know, there were a bunch of Palmers back there because he doesn't play just one or two amps.
No, he plays four.
Oh, does he?
Through two cabinets.
What was Slash playing with? I know you checked out his rig. I didn't really.
Slash
check
was playing the 800s, man.
Oh,
now is he
the signature?
Is he using the signature?
No. The signature was made from the
Jubilee.
Yeah, it was
Jubilee.
Yeah,
exactly. No, he's using the 800s. Like, I don't know if they're old or if they're new ones. I'm not sure. You know what I mean?
I'm guessing they're old ones, like the ones I played. But
yeah, it sounded amazing. His sound was just incredible.
Yeah, that's great. So you were touring with him, or just?
Yep. Yeah. We did a bunch of dates with him. He is one of the coolest guys in the world, man. I did not expect it, but he is. I mean, one of the first dates we played, Hampton Beach Casino. It was right on the beach. Awesome place. I mean, it's got incredible history. And after his sound check, it was one of the first dates that they right before they played with Aerosmith, and he came up to us right after sound check and just wanted to meet us, and it floored me. I was so impressed.
Wow. He came up and said, "Hey, what's your name?" And he goes, "I'm Slash." I'm like, yeah, yeah, we know that. Yeah, he was really cool, man.
I had that experience happen to me once, and this guy walked up to me and he said, "Hi, I'm Mick."
Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
And you said,
I went, yes, you are.
That's the way we were like, right.
Really? Yes, I do know
Let me tell you,
are.
he is on fire. He's playing better than.
That's what everybody's saying, man.
Yeah,
he's really
man.
kicking some serious ass.
He does nothing but just, focus. He's so focused right now. He's a machine, and his band is just incredible. And Miles, of course. I mean, what can you say about Miles Kennedy? He's incredible.
That dude is working double time.
He's the hardest fucking man in show business right now.
That's right.
And the funny thing is you can actually hear a really good interview with Eddie Trunk this week with Slash.
Yeah.
He interviewed him in his hotel, and he was talking about Miles because he said, "You both are playing like stadiums in Europe." He goes, "What are you going to do if one of the bands takes off? Does he have to choose between girlfriends?" And he's like, "Well, we've already had that discussion." He goes, "We're just going to work it out."
Yeah. That's awesome. I think it's great, man.
And that just goes to show you that he's working with guys that will actually work it out with him. There's no, it doesn't appear to be a whole lot of egos going on there.
I can tell you there are no egos going on with those guys. They're the nicest guys, down to earth, and they're focused on their craft. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not about look at me, look at the shoes I'm wearing, and the equipment I'm playing. It's just they are so focused, and I have so much respect for them, and that's what we try and do. And
That's
hopefully
awesome.
one day we can be, half the level that they're at. So.
Yeah. Slash is really humble. Like when I was talking to him, I said, "I love your tone," and he's like, "Man, stop." I mean, he hears it so much, and he's like, "That's all cool, man."
Well, I'll tell you this. I was a big Child's Play fan, and you can see how it's all evolved.
Yeah, we're playing. It's pretty cool. It's just rock and roll.
Exactly.
John and I, it's just all we've ever done, and it's all we've ever known. And we're not trying to, reinvent the wheel or anything. We're just, we're just doing what we love. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even though, in the old days, the Child's Play stuff was very roots rock and roll.
Right.
It's more now. I went back and I listened to some of the old stuff, and I was like, your tone's much more refined.
Right.
It's got more of that. You can hear more of the amp.
Right.
Well,
it's a learning curve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And depending on.
And your engineer too.
When you're young, the producers and the engineers, you kind of you're doing what they want. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as you learn,
because
as you
they
grow,
know.
Yeah, they know better, right?
Exactly.
We all laugh.
So yeah. But thank you for saying that.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
But so you've got 2009 was what album? I just want to get everybody up to speed and go buy the product. Let's rock and roll.
Let's rock and roll. And then we released our second record was Sins. And the new record is Battles because, everything is a battle in life.
Hell yeah.
Whether you have issues with drugs and alcohol, whether you're just battling to survive, you're battling your job, you're battling your wife. I mean, whatever.
Right.
Life is a battle.
Or the band that's playing right now.
Yeah, we're battling that right now.
Right.
They get louder and louder.
Jesus, I swear I think they turned the stage around.
Somebody's having fun on
It's a rotating stage now.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, you're doing what? Here, let's turn the stage around. Oh my God. Well, guys, thanks for taking the time. And I know you guys got to go get some rest because you're double booked today. You got to go play the casino tonight.
Yes, we were fortunate enough to be invited to play the after show, and we're going to have a good time, of course, there. I haven't been to the new casino.
Awesome.
Very excited.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We were there for the grand opening, and it's a great place. You'll like it.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
If you're playing the same stage that they have the bands on normally,
yes,
It's up over the bar. It's like a second story high, overlooking the bar.
We're playing outside, so is that what you're talking about?
Are you
There's
playing
like
outside?
An outside plaza.
Oh, okay. All right, you're playing outside. No, it's I was on that deck for the grand opening. So yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, it's very, very cool. That deck is out there for the whole season. So good. Well, guys, thanks for taking the
man.
time. And
Thank you guys.
Sorry for the echo chamber.
It's like I'm being punched.
We used to loud, ridiculous music. We love it.
It's rock and roll, baby.
Yes, it is, man.
Rock and roll. All right, go have a great time. Enjoy
Thanks,
the rest
man.
of the day. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Rock on.
Thank you.
We're backstage at the Shindig in Baltimore on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
And we have with us from Fishbone, the one, the only, Mr. Rocky George.
Hello.
How's it
Rocky,
going?
how are you, man?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Just saw the set. Wow.
Yeah, man.
Killer. Killer set.
That's a lot of moving parts up there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of sound, a lot of moving parts.
And God bless them, pretty much all analog.
Nope. Yeah,
You know?
right?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Except for that Nord lead.
Well, that's a keyboard. You know, forgive those guys. You know, they can't be totally analog. Oh, that's too funny. But yeah, I mean, let's just go back a little bit. You know, you came from. I know we well, not everybody knows, but you know, you came from Suicidal Tendencies. But what kind of happened before that? What brought you into this crazy business?
I have to say, kind of fell into it. I had no aspirations of being a professional musician. I was actually in college being a math major when I joined Suicidal.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had to quit to go on tour. So.
But you were playing guitar before that.
Yeah. But I didn't expect to be a professional. You know, I was thinking I didn't want to be a music teacher.
Okay.
You know, I didn't want to major in music, but I like math.
Okay. Well, they kind of go together.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, it's time and.
But I didn't really think.
You didn't really think it would happen musically.
But you know, it wasn't. I've always played for fun.
Okay.
Wow.
You know what? I mean, I think everybody starts playing for fun.
I still play for fun.
I hope so.
That's good.
I hope so. I mean, you know, if you're up there and it's misery, then you know.
I trust me. At this point, after all this touring, I wouldn't be doing this if I still didn't have fun. So.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Especially on a day like today, you know, the deck's a little warm. The deck's a little warmer than we are here, and you know.
Now you know that it's crazy. I mean, you know, Suicidal was almost like a cult band.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things I was telling Jeff about, and you gotta let us in on this. I had read years ago that you guys couldn't play like in certain places in LA because of the gang rivalry stuff.
We were just banned from LA for a long time, and it wasn't because of a gang rivalry. It was more of a paranoia.
Wow.
The promoters were scared to book us.
Wow.
Didn't Rage get that type of thing too?
I don't know. Hey, the first band I know that happened to is the Grateful Dead. I don't know if you remember that when they were banned from playing San Francisco for a long, long time.
Oh wow!
And that happened to us. It was nothing ever happened at our show. You know, it was people were scared of the potential of something bad happening, and they got cold feet. And,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
the catastrophic thing never ever happened.
Well, that's because they banned you. I'm sure they're sure that's because they banned you. That's why it never happened.
I was fortunate enough to see a Suicidal show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm
not saying they weren't crazy.
I don't believe
but they weren't catastrophic.
Right.
I don't
Crazy's good.
I don't believe Mike ever sleeps. Mike went back and forth across that stage. If I had to count it, I would have lost track at around 10,000. I mean, he just covers miles while he was up there.
Yeah.
And one thing is that it was, you know, I was into the shredder stuff. I was really into those kind of guitar players. Mm-hmm. And when I saw Rocky, I was like, man, where did this guy come from? You know, and the riffs were good. I mean, Show Me Some Money. I mean, you know, that was, you know, that was one of their big things, you know, because it was about the preachers and all that stuff. But it was just it was a really different type of heavy band. It wasn't the normal, you know, because Mike didn't really sing.
No.
You know, he kind of talked his parts almost.
Right, okay.
You know, and it had a very different vibe to it.
I thought too there was a lot of. We all had different influences too.
Yeah.
That always makes for interesting music.
Yeah.
It really does.
You know, we all came from all of us came from different kind of direction. And all merged together and it all worked.
And then when he would do his solos, it was like, you know, like oh my God, like you know, just blazing. I mean, just I don't know. You had, I would put you like with that George Lynch kind of thing. I mean, you had that kind of, you know, Greg Howe, one of those guys, you know, and but that band, you know, it was very neat to hear that. Like his rhythms were, of course, fit the band, of course, but when the solos came out, they were very fluent. They were very thought out. Obviously, I mean, it was a very neat mesh. You know, a lot of the Suicidal stuff.
I mean, the way it works with Fishbone too. It's such an eclectic thing. Fishbone, you know.
Yeah.
Yet when it's your time to let loose, you know, all that stuff comes into play, and then you know you have this other thing. That as soon as you're done, this other thing happens again.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
that's one thing about this band. There's a lot of stuff going on at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of moving parts, man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a different role for me in Suicidal. It was mainly a guitar-based band.
Yeah.
You know, guitar, vocal.
Absolutely.
And this is there's so much stuff going on. You know,
now
the horns and stuff. You know.
Oh yeah.
We interviewed a guy named Dave Nassi from Bleeding Through, guitar player, and he had said that he played. Remember, he did a short stint with Suicidal on bass. Now I don't know when this was.
Probably
but
wasn't with me.
It probably wasn't. No, but he said it was. You know, he said that was a lot of work. And that stuff was definitely. That was not easy music to figure out. That's for sure.
Right,
you know?
right.
So you've been an Ibanez endorser forever, right?
Oh, well, I know. I forgot. I'm trying to remember the year I actually got the endorsement. It was sometime in the 80s.
Yeah.
But my first good guitar was Ibanez. You know, my third instrument was saxophone. I played sax for about 7-8 years, but I sold my saxophone to buy my first Ibanez.
Wow.
And this is in 81, I think.
So that was like a Roadstar or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It was a Roadstar, one of those red Roadstar 2s.
Yeah.
Wow.
I still have it.
Yeah.
I love that. I still,
They were actually very nice made instruments. They weren't bad.
They were durable because they're Strat.
Yes.
And they had that real big thick brass tremolo bar.
Yes.
That I could really whack with. And it wouldn't bend.
The Richie Blackmore bar.
Yeah, it was great. It was like a real big thick one, like a Uli Roth. You ever see the one Uli Roth on the?
Oh yes, yeah.
It has a really thick tremolo bar. It was like that.
Wow.
Nice.
That's so cool.
I love it. I still have it. I've played it with Fishbone.
Nice.
I sold the last time, not the whole, my last sax is because of that guitar.
Wow.
And so and that was obviously pre-Suicidal, right?
Yeah.
Or was it? Okay. All right. So you were playing. You played sax long before that, and then picked that guitar, and then wound up in Suicidal.
And then I played sax one time on Send Me Your Money. If you very listen really hard, there's a sax in there. I think they might even did it in the video, but it took a long.
Yes, I think.
It took a long time. I lost my embouchure, so it took me a long time to get the note out.
Yeah. That's an instrument I've never tried. I don't think I could be successful at it. I really don't.
Now, did they ever do a signature model for you?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
No, and
everyone thinks RGs are
RG, right? Exactly. It's not.
Oh, that's just so. It's so wrong. I mean, you've been doing it. You've been using their products probably as long as Paul Gilbert, absolutely as long as Steve Vai, Joe Satriani.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's been, in the mid '80s. I mean, well, it was '84, '85, maybe '86 when they went to the RG body. I can't remember. It was somewhere around there because when I had one of the original green Loch Ness 777 Steve Vai models.
Yeah.
I was one of the first guys to have a Universe on album too.
Wow.
And
I'm sure I know I'm in the.
Yeah, well, you would
number
in the chosen few.
I'm somewhere in between 10 or maybe even 5 of the first person to get the 7th.
Wow.
I'm sure.
But I know I recorded it really early too, because I used it on one of those.
One of the early
I have
records.
to think about it, but I did. It was like I got it right away. I still have it too. So.
Now I saw an interview where you said you use a 63 on the bottom.
Is it 63 or 64?
Oh, well, let's split hairs here. Let's split hairs.
It could be. No, it could be. Yeah.
Now, do you use that on a 6-string too? Or?
No. I use a medium gauge.
Okay.
So I got a pretty heavy E string anyway.
Yeah.
So medium is...
I like the tension.
Okay. Medium is what? 10,
12?
11, 12?
It's 11 to
11.
50 something.
Yeah, that's a pretty good.
Yeah, and
Do you find it hard to bend, or do you tune down?
that's strong hands.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't tune down.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's...
but you know, it's like I like tension.
Yeah. Well,
Because I can bear it.
Oh
yeah.
And the strings are gonna go.
Yeah.
And his fingers were flying, man.
Yeah, I mean,
not a scalloped board, right? Just a straight...
No, they're not scalloped.
They're not scalloped?
I do have one scallop guitar, but I haven't played in a while.
And
they're big frets.
Right.
They are big frets.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
Oh, on the ones you play, yeah.
Yes.
Does make a
Yeah, Ibanez is, they're into that bigger fret. You know.
And honestly, the first time I experienced that was, I told you, Stevie's guitar. I was building
giant
an amp for
frets
him.
on that guitar.
I was building an amp for him, and I had to put 13s on my Strat, and I'm going, I don't know how he plays these at all. I cannot figure it out. And I picked up number 1, and they played like 11s, and I'm going, okay, it's the frets. It's the big frets that
Steve
allows
Ray
you
Vaughan.
to do that.
He built an amp for Steve Ray Vaughan.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was going to bring it up when I
whatever.
talked about heavy strings, because that's the perfect example of someone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
13s.
Yeah, he had
Real.
ham hocks for hands.
Oh,
on
yeah.
that. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
he, big hands.
Yeah,
But you know, I always worry about, and it's different because he played single coils.
Mm-hmm.
The heavy strings have a lot of bottom, so you got to really watch that.
Yeah, your bottom end too heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that weird overtone with we've talked about this. That
exactly.
overtone that happens with 7 strings.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the bottom end, that
Yeah.
bottom string is. Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of bottom or having too much, I just saw you playing a recto on stage.
Yeah.
Kind of known for a little bit of over the top bottom.
Yeah. I try to curb it. You know, I mean, I don't know if you saw my guitar is really thin too.
Yeah, you have a Saber now, right?
Yeah, that's what I was using.
Yeah, the SA.
It's not Saber. It's a Prestige.
Prestige.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So that
Those are very nice
helps
guitars.
balance a little bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the balance right.
And for the listeners, the Prestige line from Ibanez is made in Japan, and I can't pronounce the name of the factory. New Giant. Anyway, they're very, very, very light on luthiers. You know, it's like maybe 20 guys.
Okay.
And what they do is they 5-piece necks, very precision, and they work the neck to death.
Wow.
Just that's all they do. And they say, like, when you play one, it's like having a guitar in your hand for 30 years.
Yeah, the neck is wonderful.
Yeah,
Really?
because that's where all the meat and potatoes really is happening. It's happening in the neck, because your strumming hand is doing one thing, but your hand is on the neck.
Oh, different necks make a big difference.
So it definitely makes light work. That's for sure. Those guitars are pretty effortlessly to play.
Yeah.
So
I always wonder how much tone is lost by
The thin.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe that's taming of the bottom a little bit for you. With the heavy gauge, that might help to tame the bottom a little bit.
I mean, if you look at that body is just thick enough. I mean, it's so thin that they can't even recess the control cavity cover. It sits outside.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they have to bevel the edge because...
Make me want to bring my guitar over here.
Let's dissect this thing.
It's a very... I talked to Ed Roman one time, and Ed, we had a conversation about it, and he says, I want to know how they build that guitar. Because, see, when they use CNC routers... The reason that they're flat usually on the back and they're arched on the top is because the routers, they vacuum seal it
sitting
down.
on the table.
And they vacuum seal it, right? So then the router comes out, it routes the top, and then that's it. If there's a belly cut, then they can use a jig for that, and that's it.
Right.
This whole guitar is beveled both front and back. It's not flat on the back. It's actually, and so they cut a ton of wood out of that thing.
Yeah.
And it's very lightweight, but it is all mahogany.
Oh, nice.
So you kind of get that mahogany, and I'm telling you, they really sound good. I mean, you can get jazz tones out of those guitars, and
Nice.
you don't even have to think about playing it. You just breathe on it. But.
Is that your normal amp of choice? I know this is probably a fly-in for you or something.
It's a fly-in for me, but I've been a boogie guy for a long time, and I do use triple Rex.
Triples?
Yeah. And the main reason of the triples is the more so the clean headroom too. I like.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed you were getting very good clean tones out of that amp.
And I don't know if you noticed, just the stage volume with this band is very loud.
Yeah.
John, the drummer, is probably about 100 dB by himself. And Norwood plays really, 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 really loud. Really loud. Like really.
Really. Not a little loud. A little lot loud.
Yeah, because he's got to be over John, so it's from there it starts. And then all that stuff in the monitor. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I need...
Yeah, you need 150 watts of raw power.
Yeah. Especially if you're going to go spanky, clean, funky shit,
Yeah, and have to do both.
Right, out of one amp,
Wow.
You had a multi-effect or
looked like a boss unit, right?
What was it?
It's a GT10.
GT10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
and I did that. I mean, it's outdated now. I'm about to replace it.
Really?
No thing to rolling, but I did that on purpose because it makes things easy at that time. Because what I did, I get the GT10, I program all my sounds, I pop them in a laptop. Something goes wrong with it, I can just go Guitar Center, get another one, dump my stuff back into it.
Nice.
There you go.
And just keep
That's
rolling
nice.
on down the road.
Now, you don't use any of the amp modeling, just the effects?
Yeah, it's just going back. I do the 4 cables through the effects loops.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, not using any of the amp
Very
simulators.
nice. Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's perfect for that. No one's going to notice. You're playing live.
I often tell guys that I knew a guy that bought, was it Strominger delay or whatever?
The Strymon?
Strymon. Yeah, was it like $500,000?
Yeah. Is anyone in the audience that know that?
And he goes, man, you can hear the tape warble. I said, not when the fucking drums are pounding that shit out of you. Yeah. I was like, when that drummer's hitting 100 dB, nobody's hearing that
And you got a
warble.
keyboard behind you doing some kind of
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 3 guys playing horns?
Right.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah. There's enough warble going on. You don't have to add to it.
So I have a drawer at home. I have all these effects. I leave them at home now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could have the most sterile delay on the planet, and it won't make a difference.
I have another drawer that's full of wah-wahs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I have custom wah-wahs. I have all these different wah-wahs. I haven't touched them in years.
Well, now for the studio, do you?
I was just say, what about studio? What's your
studio? I have to be honest. A lot of times, I even for years I've been doing that. I have an opportunity of getting rental gear or someone bringing something in. I love trying everything. But what's in the studio?
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
That's awesome.
So you don't drag gear and you go, let's see what you got and let's have fun with
I
this.
may drag it in, but I usually like seeing what's there.
That's too cool,
No,
man.
I mean, it gives you an opportunity to explore a lot of things, especially in a great studio,
Exactly, and you can have something. You can come up with some sound that's unique for that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, man.
But so studio, just a whole bunch of cool gear. Backline, you have your favorites. I always ask this. Well, I try to ask this for people. You guys using in-ears, or you just like
I'd like
monitors?
to do in-ears. I'd like to, but I really would.
Really?
Yeah. Like I just said, stage volume is too loud for me.
So you would actually use the in-ears to bring down what you're hearing?
It would be a lot easier to decipher everything.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to everybody. It's like, no, I really like to hear. I like to feel the air moving past me.
You can get the air. There's so many ways of getting that feeling.
Yeah.
And with a 150 watt recto, he's gonna feel it.
Yeah.
I'm just lucky right now. I can still hear it.
You're not the only one, man. You're not the only one. There's plenty.
I've been down that road. I've had that hum for 5 days going, I hope this goes away.
What?
Exactly.
So speaking of regaining your hearing, where's your next gig?
Warwick, Rhode Island.
Oh, Warwick. My sister used to live there, man.
Warwick.
Yeah, Warwick, Rhode Island.
Is that tomorrow or
tomorrow? Yeah.
Tomorrow.
It's a nice place up there.
Yeah, we just came from Boston like 2 days ago, so we got to go drive back.
Oh, wow.
You come from there down to here and back up. Yeah. Well, as we can hear, we got another band going.
Yeah, we do. Rocky, anything you want to plug? Anything I mean,
man.
you doing anything outside of Fishbone? Anything that's...
Not right at the moment, but there will be something coming soon.
Cool.
Nice.
Well, I tell you what we're gonna do. I will put his link. I'll put Fishbone's link up, and any social media that you have or anything, I will put it up on our site.
Okay.
And then if anything comes down the pipe, we'll let everybody know, man.
Yeah, and I hopefully can contact you through the email we have. We'll let you know when this is up. It'll be up in about a week or two.
Yeah.
You can put it up on social media for all your fans and go, hey, man, this is what I do. This is what I do.
Cool.
Excellent. Cool. Rocky, thank you for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Go enjoy the rest of the day, my friend.
Yes, sir, man.
All right, take care. All right. Well, as I'm sure you've heard, live music is alive and well.
What?
It is alive and well, at least in Baltimore.
I never get to do that.
That's true.
I just got to do that. It was good.
That's funny.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
two cool bands, and I arrived late. I did not get to see Charm City. I was a little bummed about that because I really liked those guys.
They rocked.
Nick Kay, I mean, he's just, because I know him from the Child's Play days.
Yeah.
And if you're local in Baltimore and Maryland, you know Child's Play, even Pennsylvania, Virginia.
Right.
Those guys had a very good following, and they went national. They had a record deal, and, things didn't work out there. But John Allen, just the singer.
Well, he's the front man now.
He just goes.
He just took that and ran with it, man.
That guy just has a motor that is, and they get to tour with Motley Crue.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget Victor. He's no slouch on guitar either.
Yeah, Victor's a great guy. What a nice guy.
Yeah.
And it was funny because after we interviewed them, we were standing up by the stage,
mm-hmm.
and we were talking for a half a second, and we came to this conclusion that Gibsons, like Les Pauls, are just rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, in straight ahead rock and roll, like they play.
Yeah, it's
the guitar of choice for those guys.
Exactly. You can hot rod a Fender, you can do any of the Strat style bodies, but for some reason, the Les Paul and their stuff, it just kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, they're just playing them loud and proud. Man.
Yeah. Now Nick, every now and then, I think he uses a 335, but it's still that Gibson vibe.
Right.
It's just that rock and roll thing.
It is.
Half stack Marshalls and straight in and go.
That's it.
Yeah. So great bunch of guys there.
Yeah. And you saw Fishbone.
Yes. Which mind boggling. I mean, you got tons of moving parts on that stage. And I don't even know how those guys keep it together like that. And it just amazes me. I mean, people look at bands and they go, oh, there's 10 guys up there. It must be real easy. I'm like, it's 10 guys doing 10 different things.
Right. That can be a lot harder than it looks.
Oh, my God, yeah. And Rocky, I've said this to you. I mean, he's one of those guys, man, that just never made the radar like I think he should have deserved.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is an amazing musician.
And I tell you, he's a sweetheart too, man. He's
a great guy.
Later in the evening, we were packing up and leaving and everything. He saw me. He was in his trailer and he saw me walk past. He waved. He came outside, and we just chatted for another 20 minutes. He was just hanging out, shooting the breeze, man.
Yes, man.
Really nice guy.
Afro is unstoppable.
That's right. I love it.
When he put the headphones on, I thought, well, we're never going to get him back.
They're gone.
They're gone. I mean, I was like, at first I thought, I don't know how he's going to put the headphones, and then he did, and I was like, well, now I don't even see him anymore.
It's true.
For half a second, I was going to ask him if that was real.
It's real.
That is a thick head of hair.
It is.
Yeah, and just an amazing guitar player. And like I said in the interview, I just cannot believe, and anybody at the Ibanez Corporation listening to this, because we go around the world, anybody listening to this, why does that man not have an endorsement deal?
Yeah, we spoke about this, right?
Yes.
He's only been playing Ibanez forever.
Exactly. Back in the Roadstar days, before they really started making their heyday, that guy still has that guitar.
Yeah.
Why does this guy not have a signature model?
Yeah.
And he's no slouch, man. This guy
tears it up.
He is an amazing player.
He tears it up.
To go from Suicidal Tendencies, which is just crazy energy, to Fishbone, which is crazy energy, but not on even close to the same level.
It's way different. But he does get to shred now and
Yes,
then
he does.
in Fishbone, too. And
Yeah,
the chops are there.
Yeah, they unleash the beast every now and then.
Oh, yeah. That was fun. That was fun to watch.
Yes, it's just crazy. I mean, come on, Ibanez, get your stuff together.
Right.
You know? I mean, acknowledge good players.
Right.
So,
hopefully
anyway.
somebody that works there is listening.
And like you said, what a sweetheart of a guy.
And, it was a great vibe backstage all day. And, we'll just finish up with this. The thing about that festival, out front is the same really good vibe. I mean, occasionally you have, people that had a beer or 6 too many.
Saw a security guard sitting on a woman's chest. She was a larger woman. She looked like she was giving him a run for his money.
You have occasionally people
it
that
doesn't
have
matter where you go.
No, it doesn't matter where you go. But I tell you, this last year, I do remember that this festival, they were commended by the city of Baltimore and or the police department for not one arrest in the entire festival. It's that cool.
Yeah,
it's that cool.
It seemed like a really where we had to leave to go through the crowd. We had to leave from the front of the stage, off on the side.
Well, we didn't. We could have gone all the way around the back.
Well, we could have gone all the way around the back, but there was an access for us.
Yes.
I thought for sure I was not going to make it out. I had my laptop and my bag on my back, and I thought I'm going to really have a tough time getting through this crowd. And it was a breeze.
Yeah.
Nobody was doing that pushy, shovey kind of, hey, wait a minute, what are you doing thing. It was very cool. I mean, they had a mosh pit.
And that was later in the evening, too, where, there could have been mass mayhem.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean, I couldn't even see hardly where I was going because it was dark, But great time.
Yep.
And
thank you, everybody.
I was going to say thank you all the bands that were there. And who was it Paul? Who set us up there?
Oh, Paul Manna
Yes.
and Chris Keith.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember either.
I didn't know if you were grasping for a band name or
no. Who gave us all the stuff and let us come do our thing?
Chris Keith and Paul Manna.
Always
24/7 entertainment. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Check those guys out if you can.
Yeah, they're good guys.
So until next time, my friend, I am Cassius Clay. No, Mick Marcelino.
And I'm Mohammed Ali, a.k.a. Jeff Boba.
And we are saying...
Onward.
Be sure to follow the show on Twitter @AmpsandAxes. Also, make sure you like the show on Facebook. For news, comments, and Lick of the Week with Dave Nassi, visit our website, ampsandaxescast.com. Thanks for listening.